Have you ever found yourself just staring at a cluttered space, maybe a pile of clothes or your kitchen counter just piled high, and you get that feeling, that sort of overwhelming dread?
Oh, yeah. Most of us have.
And we often think the answer is just, cleaning up. But what if tidying was actually something, well, something much deeper than just chores?
That's a really common mistake,
Yeah.
actually. People hear tidying and think, okay, wipe down the surfaces, put a few things away. But Marie Kondo, in Spark Joy, she lays it out very differently. Her method, it's really about confronting yourself. It can literally transform your life.
That's quite a claim, confronting yourself through tidying. Okay, so welcome everyone to the deep dive. Today we are digging into the KonMari method, straight from Marie Kondo's book, Spark Joy. And like you said, our mission here isn't just about, the perfect way to fold a t-shirt, although we might touch on that.
Right.
We're really exploring the core philosophy, how tidying can lead to a life with more joy, more self-awareness, maybe even better relationships. We'll pull out some surprising insights, practical tips, all from the book, tailored so you can grasp this approach really quickly.
Okay, so let's start with that very first thing you mentioned, the whole tidying versus cleaning idea. Because Kondo makes a really crucial distinction there.
Right. For most people, those words kind of mean the same thing. So why is she so specific about separating them? What's the big mistake we make?
Well, it boils down to what you're actually dealing with. See, Kondo says tidying is about objects. You're deciding what stays, what goes, where things belong.
Okay.
And that means confronting yourself. Because let's face it, the clutter, that's on you. Your choices to buy things or not put them back. Cleaning, though, that's about dirt, wiping, sweeping.
Stuff that just happens naturally.
Exactly. Dirt comes from nature, so cleaning is confronting nature. Tidying is confronting you.
Ah, I get it. So if my desk is buried under papers and gadgets, that's me. If it's just dusty, that's gravity in life.
Precisely. And that's why she points out the traditional year-end thing in Japan is a cleaning spree, not a tidying spree.
Right.
The fundamental idea is if you want that deep, lasting, clean feeling, you have to finish the tidying first. Completely.
Before you even think about dusting or vacuuming.
Yes. Otherwise, you're just pushing dirt around stuff that shouldn't even be there.
Yeah.
Your house never feels truly, properly clean.
That makes total sense. It's like trying to mop a floor covered in toys. You just smear the grime around. Okay, so that's a foundational shift. Understanding that difference, what's the next step? Like the first mental hurdle Kondo asks us to jump. And it sounds like it's less about the how and more about the why.
Absolutely. Her very first rule is key. Commit yourself. It sounds simple, but it's about really building that solid belief that you can do this, even if it feels totally overwhelming at first. And that commitment ties straight into rule 2. Imagine your ideal lifestyle. And this isn't just, a fun little daydream.
Right, because if you don't know where you're headed, you might just end up back in the clutter pile.
Yeah.
So how does she suggest you actually do that visualizing? Make it concrete.
It's about clarifying why you're tidying. What life do you actually want to live after this big tidying festival? She suggests sketching it out, or maybe writing about it, describing it vividly, or even cutting pictures from magazines, making a sort of vision board.
Okay.
The key is doing it thoroughly, and importantly, doing it quickly, all at once. Because if you look at magazines over weeks and months, your idea of ideal might change, right?
Yeah.
And that makes it harder to lock onto that vision and stay motivated.
So you set that joyful destination first. Got it. And the compass for getting there?
Right.
Well, that's the famous spark joy idea, isn't it? Rule 6. Ask yourself if it sparks joy. How do you actually do that? If you're new to this, what does spark joy even feel like?
She explains it quite clearly. You take each item, one by one, hold it firmly in both hands, like you're really connecting with it, communing with it, she said. And you pay attention to your body's reaction. Is there a little thrill, a feeling of lightness, like your cells are rising up? That's joy.
And if not?
If your body feels heavier or dull or just kind of, then it doesn't spark joy. And importantly, she frames it as choosing what to keep.
Not deciding what to throw away.
Exactly. It shifts the whole mindset away from loss and deprivation towards appreciation and choosing what you truly want around you.
That's a subtle but powerful shift. Choosing what to keep. But okay, so you're just starting and your joy sensor feels a bit rusty. Like everything feels kind of the same. Are there ways to sharpen that sense?
Yes, definitely. She offers a technique called the top 3 exercise.
Yeah.
You take a pile of similar items, say t-shirts, and you pick out the 3 that absolutely spark the most joy for you.
Okay.
Just those top 3. Comparing them to the rest helps you quickly calibrate, you feel the difference, and that becomes your benchmark. your personal joy standard.
That's smart. Gives you a baseline to work from. And once you've got a feel for that, where does she suggest you physically start tidying? Is there like an easier category to build up that joy sensing muscle?
Yeah, and it's a bit counterintuitive. She says start with clothes. Specifically, start with tops, then bottoms, then socks and underwear. Things worn closest to the body.
Why those first?
Her reasoning is that joy is felt in the heart, or the body, not so much the head. So items worn closest to your heart are often easier to get a clear yes or no from. It eases you into the process.
Okay, that makes sense. Build up the joy muscle gently. Now, we've talked about finding joy, but what about all that stuff we keep? You know, just in case.
The stuff that doesn't really spark joy, but, well, it might come in handy. Kondo's pretty firm on that phrase, right? Almost taboo.
Oh, completely taboo. Her rule is strict. If it doesn't spark joy now, let it go. She even tells stories about herself, like using a frying pan as a hammer once because she'd thrown her hammer out. Seriously, a frying pan hammer.
Yeah. Or using headphones as makeshift speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Her point is, you can almost always find a way, or you'll find a replacement you actually love when you truly need it. Letting go of those just-in-case items, at least once, she says, is the only way to really experience being surrounded only by things that lift you up.
Wow. Okay, that takes some courage. But what about the really practical stuff? Like, my vacuum cleaner doesn't exactly give me a thrill. Or a screwdriver. Do you just keep those things even if they don't spark joy?
This is where it gets really interesting and honestly quite profound. She says the key is to look at what they do for you, their function. And you actively appreciate that. She suggests showering them with praise.
Showering your screwdriver with praise.
Like maybe you tell your slip, wow, you really support my dress without showing off. Or to the screwdriver, you're amazing. You saved my fingernails. Sounds a bit silly, maybe.
A little.
But it fosters genuine gratitude. And through that appreciation for its usefulness, its service, that item starts to spark joy. It becomes part of your support team. It's almost like mindfulness for your stuff.
Yeah, I can see that. Recognizing the value, the help it provides, that connection is the joy. And she mentions how sometimes the lack of joy points to something bigger, right? Like the client whose work clothes didn't spark joy because, well, the job didn't spark joy.
Exactly. The process becomes this incredible tool for self-discovery. It really can be a game changer. Okay, so once you've got this joy sensor tuned up and you've reframed how you look at your stuff, Kondo lays out a very specific path for the actual tidying. And a huge part of that is tidying by category, not by room. Why is that so important?
Because that's how most of us do it, right? Tidy the bedroom, then the living room.
Right, and that's one of the biggest mistakes. If you tidy room by room, you're often just moving things around.
Mm-hmm.
You might put some books from the living room into the bedroom closet. You never see all your books in one place.
Ah, okay.
By gathering every single item in one category, like all your clothes, from everywhere in the house into one giant pile. Yeah, it can be shocking. But confronting that sheer volume makes you realize how much you have, maybe how you haven't treated things well. It makes it much easier to see what sparks joy and what needs to go.
I can imagine seeing all my clothes in one mountain would be sobering. A real wake-up call. Okay, category by category. And then she has a specific order for those categories, too. Is it random, or is there a logic?
Oh, there's definitely a logic. It's rule number 5.
Okay.
Follow the right order. And the order is clothes first, then books, then papers, then kimono, which is basically miscellaneous stuff, and finally, sentimental items.
Clothes, books, papers, kimono, sentimental.
Yep. And the reason is to build your skill. You start with clothes, which are generally easier to judge for joy. You save the really tough emotional stuff, like old photos and letters, for the very end. But then your joy sensor is sharp and you build confidence.
That makes sense. Ease into the hard stuff. Okay, let's get into some details for these categories. Clothes first. I know the folding method is iconic. What's the secret sauce there?
Well, first, you gather everything. Every sock, every scarf. Then yes, the folding. The core idea is to fold items into a smooth rectangle that can stand up on its own. She says never give up on weird shapes. Basically anything can be folded.
Stand up.
Yeah, so you store them vertically in drawers like files. And she talks about smoothing the clothes with your palm, using your hand power to kind of transfer your energy and care into them. For hanging clothes, the trick is arranging them so they rise to the right. Lighter colors, shorter lengths on the left, going up towards darker, longer things on the right. Creates an uplifting visual.
Rise to the right. Interesting. And she mentioned shoes, too.
Yes. Discard badly fitting shoes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't serve you. They don't spark joy. Simple as that.
Never give up on the fold. I like that. Okay, next, books. This one might make some people twitchy. Her advice sounds pretty radical.
It can be. Her core advice is to let go of books you've only read halfway or maybe haven't even started. The idea is that you read a book for the experience of reading it. Once read, it served its main purpose.
But what if you plan to read it?
She's quite firm. Don't reread them during the joy check, you'll just get stuck. Let them go. Her belief. Discarding books actually creates space, energetically, for the equivalent amount of new relevant information to enter your life when you need it.
Wow. Okay, that's a bold philosophy. Letting go of potential knowledge to make space for actual knowledge.
What about papers? Oh, the paper piles. That's a nightmare for so many people.
Yeah, papers can be overwhelming. Her basic rule here is pretty stark. Discard everything. That's the starting premise.
Everything.
Well, the premise is discard everything unless there's a very clear reason to keep it like it's currently in use, needed for a limited time, or must be kept indefinitely. She suggests one single pending box for papers needing action right now.
Okay, one box. That's manageable.
And here's a great tip. Most instruction manuals, recycle them. The info is almost always online, or you can call the company. Frees up a surprising amount of space. That's actually brilliant. I have a drawer full of those. Okay, brave new world for paper. Now, kimono. Miscellaneous. That just sounds like a recipe for chaos. Where do you even start with all the random bits and bobs?
It is the biggest category, for sure. Lots of subcategories. Kitchen stuff, toiletries, electronics, office supplies. You name it. This is where that praising useful items thing really comes in handy for the necessary stuff that isn't thrilling.
Right.
She shares some funny examples, like a client who had 17 old mobile phones.
17. Wow.
Or dealing with tangled cords. She says just tackle them right away. And if you find a cord and have no idea what it belongs to, mystery cord. Let it go.
Right.
Recycle it guilt-free.
Permission to ditch the mystery cords. I think many people need to hear that. And you mentioned she even got insights from, like, a professional makeup artist.
Yeah. The artist's rule was eliminate every unnecessary step. For cosmetics, that meant dividing them into teams, like your daily essentials versus special occasion stuff, and storing everything standing upright so you can see it all and grab it easily.
Standing upright, like the clothes.
Exactly. And she has this intriguing note about valuables, like jewelry or cash. She says they have a distinct smell of money, like a pungent, tingling odor, an intuitive sense of their energy.
The smell of money. I'm going to have to investigate that. Okay, kitchen kimono, drawers full of gadgets, spices everywhere. That's a common struggle zone.
Her big insight here is actually quite counterintuitive. Prioritize ease of cleaning over ease of use.
Ease of cleaning more than ease of use.
Yep. She learned this from watching efficient restaurant kitchens. Chefs are constantly wiping surfaces. So her radical suggestion, store your dish soap and sponges inside a cupboard, not out by the sink. Keeps the counter clear and easy to wipe down instantly.
Get the soap off the counter. That feels wrong somehow. But I see the logic for clearing.
And another quirky tip, she stores kitchen scraps, like vegetable peelings, in the freezer until garbage day. Prevents odors. The whole point is making the kitchen a space that's easy and pleasant to keep clean.
Freezing scraps, okay, that's different, but probably effective. And stuffed toys. They often fall into kimono but feel sentimental. They can be really hard to let go of.
Hugely hard. She talks about her own struggle letting go of a beloved stuffed dog, Koro-chan. Her advice for items like that, if you decide they don't spark joy anymore but it's painful, cover their eyes before you discard them. Maybe pull a t-shirt over their face or cover them with a cloth.
Why cover the eyes?
It makes them seem less like beings and more like objects, she suggests. It can reduce that feeling of guilt or ambivalence. Sometimes she even mentions a Japanese purification ritual with salt to respectfully send their spirit on its way.
A little ritual for closure. That's quite thoughtful. Speaking of seeing things differently, she mentions the clutter photo shock treatment. What is that? Sounds kind of hard.
It's not about shame, really. It's more about objective reality as motivation. The idea is, take a picture of your messiest space. Just look at the photo objectively.
Oof, I can imagine that might be unpleasant.
It can be. It might even make you despair for a moment. But she says sometimes hitting rock bottom like that is effective. You see it, you hate it, you get fed up, and then you bounce back faster, ready to tackle it because you know it can only get better from there.
A sort of tough love approach with yourself.
Okay.
So you've gone through the categories you've discarded. Now you have the stuff you're keeping, storage time. But she says storage during the tidying is temporary. Why wait to set up permanent solutions?
Because you don't actually know the final volume of what you're keeping or the best way to categorize it until everything is sorted. If you buy storage containers halfway through, you might find they're the wrong size or you don't need them once you see the final amount. So temporary solutions first, permanent storage only at the very end.
That makes sense. Avoid wasting time and money. So what are her core principles for the final joyful storage setup?
There are basically four main ones. Fold things properly, stand them upright whenever possible, store all items of one category in one single spot, and divide your storage spaces, like drawers, into square compartments. Keeps things neat and easy to see.
Fold, stand upright, one spot, square compartments.
Got it. And she uses that lovely analogy for drawers. Packing like a Japanese bento box. What does that look like in practice?
Think about a bento box, right? Everything has its little section. It looks appealing. Things fit snugly but aren't crammed.
Yeah.
So in your drawers, you create sections for different types of clothes, stand them vertically so you see the spines like books, and arrange them so they look nice and fit comfortably. Not too tight clothes need to breathe a bit, but not swimming in space either.
A bento box for my t-shirts. I like that visual. And her ultimate goal for storage. It sounds almost minimalist. Envisioning an empty home. What does she mean by that?
It's about maximizing the storage you already have, your closets, your cupboards, and minimizing the need for extra storage furniture, like freestanding bookshelves or plastic bins scattered around.
She wants you to imagine your rooms returning to how they looked when they were brand new, before furniture filled them up. The idea is, if everything has a designated home inside your built-in storage, you shouldn't need lots of extra pieces just to hold stuff.
Reclaiming the space itself, that's a really appealing idea. And once the storage is sorted, she talks about creating a personal art museum or a power spot. This sounds like where the real fun begins.
It absolutely is. This is the reward. When you're only surrounded by things you truly love, things that spark joy, your home transforms. It becomes your personal sanctuary filled with treasures.
So it's not just about being tidy, it's about curating your environment.
Exactly. And she encourages you to display things that bring you joy, even if they're useless. Maybe it's that amazing cosplay dress you love, she says, wear it around the house. Or display your wedding photos inside your walk-in closet just for you. Or set up that collection of mushrooms you adore. It's about adding personal color and joy just for yourself.
Wearing a cosplay dress just because. I love that. It's so freeing. Okay, now the final category, the big one, sentimental items. Save for last because it's the hardest. What are the key guidelines here? These things are so loaded emotionally.
They really are. This stage needs your sharpest, joy-discerning skills. One crucial rule she emphasizes. Never send your sentimental stuff to your parents' house. Don't make it their burden.
Oh, good point.
The main question to ask for keeping something is, will the future me need this item to spark joy? Think ahead. And for things like family photos, she suggests making it a shared activity, going through them with family members if possible. Create albums to keep the memories alive, not just boxes of loose photos. She even suggests this is often best done after age 25 or so, when you have a clearer sense of your own life path.
Okay, will future me need this? That's a good filter. And she brings in a really beautiful Japanese concept here, mono no aware. What's that about, and how does it relate to tidying our stuff?
Mono no aware. It's often translated as the pathos of things, or maybe an awareness of impermanence. It's that bittersweet feeling you get when you appreciate something beautiful. Nature, art, even an object, knowing that it won't last forever.
Okay.
Tidying, Kondo suggests, helps you reconnect with that sensitivity. You feel the essence of your possessions. You appreciate the role they played in your life. You strengthen that bond right before you perhaps let them go respectfully. It's about honoring their journey with you, not just owning them.
Wow. Appreciating the impermanence, the essence, that adds such a layer of depth. So this whole deep dive, it really shows the KonMari method is way more than just getting rid of clutter. It sounds like a serious process of self-discovery, even transformation.
It really is. The results people report go way beyond a tidy house. Increased confidence, smoother relationships. She mentions one client, N, whose love life actually clarified and led to marriage after tidying. People find a deeper appreciation for everyday life, a stronger sense of self-worth. It's like learning to like yourself, as she puts it, through this process with your belongings.
That's incredible. Real, tangible life changes. But here's a common problem. What if you tidy up, you feel great, but you live with other people, and their clutter still drives you crazy? That can cause so much friction. Any advice for that?
Yes, and it's a wonderfully gentle approach. She uses an analogy from Aesop's fables. Be like the sun. Remember the story of the wind and the sun trying to get the traveler to take off his coat?
Yeah, the wind blew and blew, but he just held on tighter. The sun just shone warmly, and he took it off himself.
Exactly. So instead of nagging or criticizing others about their mess, just focus completely on your own space. Make it amazing. Be the warm, inspiring example. Your transformation and your peaceful space might naturally inspire them far more effectively than any pressure could. And focusing on your own stuff, she says, helps clear your own internal irritation too. It's much more productive.
Be like the sun. That's a lovely, patient philosophy. Well, here's a final thought to leave everyone with, something really striking from the book. Marie Kondo mentioned her own father resisted tidying for 10
A whole
years.
decade.
But then, once he finally committed, he tidied his entire home in just 2 days. So, if even someone who thinks they're terrible at tidying, someone who resists for so long, can have such a dramatic turnaround, what hidden transformations might be waiting for you in your own life if you just decide to start?